July, and you said earlier you felt like this was going to be the worst month, right?
Yeah, this was I mean, like I said, Mars is Mars is getting hit Mars is exactly transiting over the depletion point of Saturn a couple of days before,
Right.
which is 20 degrees of Aries, which I mentioned. Saturn is retrograde in, so Mars, Saturn is retrograde in Dhanishta, but at 28 degrees where Mars is getting Mars is getting exalted actually. So you find this Saturn and Mars exchange happening. So, you might find things breaking up, your cars breaking up, and the whole system breaking up, right? So that's a different problem. So that's a real problem. So Mars in Burning is lawlessness also. The officers or police is being criticized and so forth. I know in some cities, there was a big thing against, now you begin to see the actual problems of not having the police and all that, so that can be a problem. That can be a real problem.
Creating other problems.
Creating other problems, right? So usually I've seen that Mars in general can also indicate people who are colored, people who are darker in color. You'll find Mars being over Rahu, suddenly they become more agitated or something you could say. That's something I would say. But more importantly, I would say usually this could also indicate a real problem with the south direction of your home and all that. So Mars with Rahu, there'll be something happening. Mars is also south direction. When you see some problem there. Now, more importantly, like I said, Mars over Burnie is though Mars is in its own sign and all that good stuff, but the problem is this particular thing. So this is when there could be a crisis and all that. A crisis could be building up, and you begin to see the consequences of the crisis. There's a shock factor coming more into that. And 100%, I think there'll be an isolation thing that'll come during that time period. But it could be coming not because of pandemic, it could be some other crisis that is creating. Usually Mars transfer over Rahu is like an internet war. For sure, there'll be a digital war happening, some virus kind of thing. Watch out for that. Make sure your privacy and security, you have backups and all that stuff. That kind of thing will really play out.
Right. Well, for the US, this is in the fifth house of children and education, and they're already fighting about, having to go back right now. So I can imagine by July, when the new school year starts, at least for us here in America, it's going to be about the kids and the education and the teachers and fighting about, masks or online. I mean, I thought that once Jupiter went back into Aquarius, that we would be stepping away from the pandemic. And maybe we are in reality, but the media wants to amp it up.
Yeah.
And so all of that fight, and fifth house is politics.
Yeah. Now the thing is that Burnie is also taboo relationships, so you find that taboo kind of relationship could be coming out, celebrities coming out with all that. That kind of thing would be playing out, which could be an actual problem for many also, which could be like a actual viral thing coming up. Now the challenge here with the Rahu, if you carefully look at it, it is in the Ashtamamsha Pada of Burnie. So the July is a month is tricky.
Some in the
sexual
what?
scandal.
I'm sorry.
Ashtamamsha Pada. So that means that, in the Navamsha, Rahu is actually going into Scorpio right now. And this particular point, when Rahu is in Burnie Pada 4, because it's in Scorpio Navamsha, well, that's an 8th house from Aries. You have problems actually. So that's a real sexual scandal thing happening and all that. So that is when this sexual scandal angering a lot of people could play out. That's the thing. It could be that you perhaps you are just dating someone, your whole family disagrees or whatnot. That kind of thing would also play out. Usually I've seen that kind of thing also happening. All that variation could play out, but that's when it could play out actually. That's when you need to be more in restraint, more in control kind of thing anyways, when Mars is in Burnie. But the challenge is that, the good thing is that if you work with this energy, you'll find this is a perfect time to give birth to a lot of projects which will last for a really long time. Because Saturn is getting debilitated here, you can confront those shadow issues for sure. And Saturn blessing can come if you are in control also. That's why Burnie Nakshatra is very good. That's why they require themselves to be in control. But usually I've seen that the challenge, but at the same time, like I mentioned, it's in the 5th house. So for sure, there could be some problems with children and all that. There could be a sexuality and children kind of thing would be a real problem discussion area this upcoming year ahead for the US actually. So that kind of thing would also play out. But yeah, usually Bharani is a nakshatra where death happens, so death can happen. So that's a challenge actually. So you have to be cautious of cars and all that, make sure you're not cutting people, be more cautious during that time period, all that I would encourage. So that's one more thing I would really encourage actually.
Okay.